Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have got some very interesting news to go over today, and a little bit of speculation and kind of guessing and talking through a lot of things to do. Because we got the first, I guess, real quote-unquote sneak peek for the RSI Perseus today. And it's a very cool image, and we are going to be talking a lot about it today because CIG, in all of their trickery and all the goofy stuff they do to throw us off, they have very much confused me on the Perseus here. So there's a few very interesting things we're going to talk about this image. It focuses on the bridge of the Perseus, which again is going to be one of the highlights of the ship, but it seems that the layout of the bridge could have changed, but it also couldn't have changed. But there's evidence that seems to point in both directions, so we have a lot of dissecting to do on this. So that's what we're going to do primarily in this video. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. And real quick, right before we get into talking about this week's sneak peek, I wanted to let you know that I have a new giveaway that's going to be starting with this video. This is going to be for a Gray's Market Shiv, a brand new ship that came out with CitizenCon and 4.3.2. It's a Gray's Market Shiv game package with lifetime insurance and an included CitizenCon digital goodies package. This giveaway has been provided to me courtesy of Cloud Imperium Games to give away to one of you. All you're going to need to do to enter this giveaway is make sure to leave a comment under this video. It can be a comment relevant to the actual video topic. We're going to be talking about the Perseus, or it can be anything you want, but just leave a comment under this video and you will automatically be entered to win. I'll be letting that giveaway go for the next few days here, and then in a couple of days, I haven't decided exactly when we're going to end it yet, but probably in the next, I don't know, 5 to 6 days or so, we'll draw a winner for that. So make sure to leave a comment under the video so you're automatically entered to win. All right, so now here we have the image for the Perseus sneak peek. I believe the tagline for this image was "the calm before command," which I think very much signifies this is, the Perseus. It's the calm before going into that heavy combat using those big turrets that the Perseus is going to have. But there's a couple of very interesting things with this image that have led me to believe that there are a couple of different possibilities for what has happened to the bridge since the Perseus's concept. So we're going to go through that. I have a couple of different ideas or theories, I guess, for what could be happening here. So theory number one is that the layout of the Perseus bridge has largely stayed the same to its concept images. If I go to this other picture I have, this is a very zoomed in and then I think kind of enhanced picture of one of the concept images of the Perseus. You can see the original layout is you have one central seat here at the front. This is the pilot seat. It looks to be a little bit lower down. You have this big chunky console, and then you have two seats for the remote turrets back behind that pilot seat, and they appear to be slightly elevated. Now in the concept they have these big kind of chunky consoles as well, but at least in the sneak peek, if we're going to assume these chairs are those remote turret operator seats, they appear to have had the same kind of glass high-tech style MFD console added that the Polaris has. Now, at least from initially looking at it, and you may feel this way too, but you have to let me know down in the comments anything you have on this. It kind of looks like these side seats here are a lot more forward than this seat here in the middle. Now, this is another theory that I have that we'll talk about in a few minutes, but we're going to assume right now that CIG loves to play camera trickery with us in these sneak peeks a lot of the time. So they use a lot of like weird focal lengths, or just they mess with the camera and perspective a lot. So it can kind of warp how things really look and make it a little bit more difficult to discern. But let's assume for right now that the layout is the same as in the concept. We have a pilot's chair that would be at the front here, and you have these two slightly elevated remote turret seats. There does appear to be, at least going off of the perspective here, somewhat of a change to the pilot seat at least, because as you'll notice, these elevated chairs to the left and right, they do appear to be bigger and closer to the front of the bridge here, whereas this chair back in the middle looks to be smaller. It's further back, and it does still appear to be lower down. So it begs the question of, if this is the pilot seat, why is it all the way back there? Is the pilot sitting, halfway back in the bridge? That would be a little bit of a weird position. So one one theory or idea of what possibly could be happening is the chair for the pilot could be on a track of some sort, kind of like on a lot of Crusader ships. They have a little slide forward track thing into their flight position. So possibly the pilot could get in the chair here, and that seat slides forward up to this little console area. There's a few reasons why I think this could be still that center pilot console, which I'll touch on in a moment here. But that is possibly what could be happening with the pilot seat. It does feel a little bit weird that would be happening. Like, there's no obvious obstructions that would require you to have a chair go forward on a track like that. But it is, I guess, a possibility, again, given the perspective here of it seems to be that chair is a bit further back than you would expect it to be. But again, could all be a little bit different with CFG playing with the camera angle like they like to. So let's talk about potentially why this could still be the center console. So if we take a quick look at that other concept image again, you can see the chair appears to be a little bit lower down. You have a nice big pilot console, and you have this similar strut right here. You can see that appears, I'm pretty sure it's this strut right here. Now the perspective, again, could be messing it up, but something else that could lead to it maybe not being the pilot seat that goes here is, at least from this point of view, it looks like that strut would be blocking the direct forward view of the pilot. It's possible, again, with the weird angle that we're at, that this strut is actually lower down and it wouldn't actually cause an issue with the view. But why I think this could still be the console is right here. So we have this pipe that's at first it looked like something that's similar to the Polaris, which we'll touch on it in a minute here on the other theory. But we can see up to about here, there appears to be kind of a flat surface that's just a little bit behind this hose. But right back here on this side and right back here on this side, there appears to be more fuzziness to the image, and it appears to be similar to the kind of the background fuzziness you see further back on, you know, the much more obviously rear section of the bridge. So it's possible this could be right here where the main console ends, and then there's a bit of a gap, and you have like the floor back a ways behind you, and that's what we're seeing through this little tiny gap here. These little lights could be, you know, some little lights that point on, you know, down to the walkway just to illuminate that. So it could point to there being still that pilot console here in the center, and possibly that chair coming forward, or maybe it's a lot closer than we think, and we're just getting the cameras playing tricks on us. So it's very, very confusing, and CAG is very, very good at giving us just a little bit, but not too much. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this specific theory. Do you think that's possible that this could still be the pilot console? Do you think that chair slides forward, or is it actually a lot further towards us from this perspective, and it's just CAG playing tricks on us? I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments on that. So now let's transition into the other theory of what could potentially be happening here with the bridge of the Perseus. So this second theory revolves around the seat alignment having been changed from the concept. So we no longer have the central pilot seat at the front and the two slightly elevated but further back remote turret seats. We have had a change to the structure of the bridge where I guess you could say it's been polarisified, where we have a pilot and a co-pilot seat at the front of the bridge here that are a little bit elevated above everything else. This central area could be similar to on the Polaris. There's kind of a similar pipe little structure here, and this is where the big radar screen shows for both the pilot and the co-pilot to see. And then with the chair in the back here, this could potentially, if this is how it's been changed, be a captain's chair, or just, you know, your commanding officer chair, which would be a definite departure from the concept. Now, then the question is, where would the remote turret seat operators be? Because those are supposed to be those seats are supposed to be on the bridge. Again, looking at those concept images. So for that, it's possible that those, going under this theory, those could have been moved. There are some areas kind of back behind these seats under these little yellow lights back here. Maybe there's a little extra side room that those have been put in on either side, or there's a, you know, an extra little chair there. Potentially through this rear door of the bridge, maybe there's an interstitial area where there's 2 seats for the remote gunners to sit and operate their remote turrets. But that's kind of the second theory, is that the layout of the bridge has changed. These seats are now a co-pilot and a pilot seat, kind of bringing it into line with how the Polaris is structured, and you have a captain seat in the middle, pulled back a little bit. Although different from the Polaris, this appears to be lower down instead of a little bit raised up on the Polaris. And then you'd have those remote turret operator seats moved somewhere else, either somewhere hidden in the bridge here or in a different room, maybe a little bit off from the bridge or somewhere else in the ship. So then we can talk about a couple of pieces of evidence of why this theory could be the case. So the first one is the seats to the left and the right here do appear to have flight controls on them. You can see a stick here and a stick here. And I've looked at the seats in the Polaris just for some reference, and the co-pilot and the pilot seats do have those flight sticks, but the remote turret seats that are a little bit further back in the bridge do not have any of those flight controls at all. So that could be an indicator that these seats are meant to fly the ship instead of operating the remote turrets. So that's a little bit of a thought, a little bit of evidence that could point that way. And then again, pointing out somewhat what I pointed out earlier, this seat in the middle here appears visually at least to be too far back to be a pilot seat, and it's a lot lower down. Again, the strut in the way could present some visibility problems. Again, that this strut could be it's just the perspective of it. Could be actually a lot lower down and doesn't cause really any issues there. So it would make it more likely, I'd say, that a seat all the way back there would be more of a captain commanding officer seat for the Perseus. But those are the 2 big theories that I've come up with for what could potentially be happening here. Again, it's real tricky because it's hard to tell with the depth of field here being all wonky, and you can see like this little area here where the color changes, I'm pretty sure is where the glass changes direction on the outside. So that could be messing with the perspective even more. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything on this. If you have any ideas or theories, what do you think about the rest of the bridge? I mean, from the little we can see, it looks very well detailed, looks very similar in the kind of the styling and the color to the Polaris, although it looks like they've stepped up the finer little details or little panels or grates a little bit on there. So maybe we'll see. I would be interested to see if they bring out a little bit of a further polish pass for the Polaris alongside bringing out the Perseus, as they've had a little bit more time to refine that RSI military art style. But yeah, that's the main thoughts that I have for this new sneak peek of the Perseus. I am very, very excited to get the ship, and I think either way it ends up going, as long as I have decent visibility, I think it'll be fine for, operating the ship. But again, make sure to let me know any thoughts that you have down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you have a particular opinion on if it could be the theory of the original concept, or if they've Polarisified the bridge, or something that I didn't mention? Make sure to let me know down below, and definitely make sure you leave a comment so that you're entered to win in that giveaway for the Grays Market Shiv, that game package with a lifetime insurance and an included CitizenCon digital goodies package courtesy of CIG. But that's going to do it for me in this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like on the video if you did, and make sure to subscribe for more Star Citizen news and updates. We should be getting, I would expect, 4.4 to start going into testing next week, and that's going to be probably the biggest patch of the year, with Nix, with IAE, whole bunch of new content, new locations, and new stuff to check out. So definitely get subscribed to see all of those updates coming in the following weeks. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the verse.